You are welcome once again to AgriDetails ABC. Thank you for joining this channel. You see everywhere in the world, people are complaining about high price of food products. People are complaining about food insecurity. People are complaining that today they can see this, tomorrow they will not be able to find it. There is lamentation everywhere. There is conflict everywhere. Today, we are going to be discussing the way forward to the world food insecurity. Welcome once again. Food security quadrant, AgriDetails ABC model, a policy document on how the world can be food secured. That is what we are going to be discussing today. Let us go. Fundamental problems that require detailed analysis. Like I say, to every problem there's a solution. But before you talk about solutions, you have to deep to the root. What is actually the root cause of these problems? And what are these problems? How do we address them? So for you to talk about food security, or for you to talk about availability of food, there are some issues that we need to nail at the head. There are some issues that we need to deep their root and discuss them before we can be talking about food security. Now, fundamental problems that requires detailed analysis. Number one, talk about farmland acquisition. Everywhere in the world, there are different procedures, there are different policies that the government plays down on land acquisition. But most often, many of these policies make accessibility of land difficult for so many farmers. So there is need that we talk about this, we address this, and make sure that for every farmer that has interest in going to the farm, in doing agricultural activities, they must be able to have access to land. That is one. Scale of operation. When we talk about there is no food in the world, there's no food in the world, then we have to ask ourselves, at what level are we actually doing farming activities? At what level are we actually producing agricultural produces? Machinery challenge. We all know that today, many people don't want to work in the farm again. Many people don't want to till the land again because people are getting conscious of the fact that the more money you make is outside tilling the ground. What am I trying to say? The people that are actually making money in agriculture are not the ones that are tilling the ground. So people are running away from what? From farming activities. But the reality is, those that are remaining in tilling the ground, they have to need what? Machinery. So that their activities, their work will be convenient for them. Today we talk about shortage of labor. When we have machinery, the work will be easy. Seed quality challenge. Yes, we all know that. At times you see people complaining that we buy this seed, it's giving us this, we buy this, that, it's giving us. There are problems everywhere, there are challenges everywhere. All these things are what we need to look into. Both the government, the private sectors, everyone involved. When we talk about food insecurity, it's not a load on the government alone. It's not a load on the farmers alone. It's a problem of all citizens of the world. And all of us must join hands in solving this problem. Research challenge. Yes, we know. When we do research, when we make research, the purpose of research is to improve the livelihood of everyone. So there are some places in Africa that we have research problem. We depend on some Western world or some developed countries to give us to research for us. So every nation has to have its own research outlet and empower researchers. Farming methodology and disease control. Sometimes the way we farm or the way we produce is actually our problem. We need to address our methodology, our method of farming. At times, the way we do it may be the wrong way. At times, there are better ways of doing it. So we need to consider how we farm, how we produce, and improve on a daily basis. Workforce availability and commitment challenge. Let me tell you, in Nigeria, where I come from, today, workforce is a problem. Normally, we talk about workforce everywhere in the world, but the problem today is getting worse more than ever before. So, and when there is nobody to work to till the ground, how do we eat? So this is a major problem that needs to be addressed, and a cogent action must be taken about this. Climate change. Yes, we all know that the climate has changed. It's not that it is changing, it has changed. And we need to think deep, think smart in farming these days. Because the climate has changed, we have excessive drought, we have over flooding because the sun drains the water from the earth with excessiveness, with aggressiveness. And by the time the heavens will be releasing the water, it is released in excessiveness as well. So everything has changed. So today, when we talk about food security, when you are doing farming and you're not talking about climate, you are deceiving yourself. So today we have to be climate smart. We have to be climate smart and consider how we can solve our problems, considering that the climate has actually changed. It's no more like before. Inflation and high cost of input. Like we know, every day when you go to the market today to buy seed, by the time you get back tomorrow, the price is no more the same. Why? Because inflation on the values of money is increasing, and when the value of money changes, definitely there will be changes in price. So all these, they are attributes, they are characteristics, they are problems that affect food security. Farm security from theft and others' invasion. I will not lie to myself. Even if everybody is lying to me, I will not lie to myself. This is a major problem in many areas, in many countries in Africa. And a strong action must be taken concerning this. We cannot just keep short. We cannot just keep our mouth shut and be deceiving ourselves. Our farms are not secured again. So what do? This one, government must look into it. Government must do something about it. Farmers must come together as one and do something about farm insecurity and others' invasion. Something must be done. Something cogent, something important, something forceful must be done. Social amenity challenges. Like we all know, what are social amenities? Those are the amenities like road, like electricity, and so on and so forth. So today, when you go to many suburbs and rural areas where farming activities are actually going on, sometimes you will weep for the farmers, because by the time you produce, before you even get your product to the market, it has destroyed, it has spoiled. So we need to talk about social amenities. Our roads are bad. Our roads are not good. So something must be done about that. The marketing challenge. We all know that. Storage facilities issues. I should not talk about that. There's no how we talk about it. Because when we produce and we don't store, how do we have, when the season is off, what do we eat? So we must talk about storage facility issues. We must discuss it. There must be a solution to the issue of storage, and storage. Balancing culture, indigenous methodologies, and of farming and foreign methodologies. Balancing culture, indigenous method of farming and foreign methodologies. In some part of the world, by the time the researchers come with one new document, new policy, new innovation, new idea, many extension officers, they will just come and rubbish what the farmers had been doing before. So a smart community, a smart farmer, a smart nation should not just rubbish what you have been doing that is working for you. Definitely we must grow. Definitely we must do new things. But while you are doing new things, make sure you don't delete what you have been doing. Make sure you don't abandon your system that is working. You have to improve it, but don't abandon the system. So there must be a balance. There must be a balance between new ways of doing things and the way you have been doing it. Don't just abandon the way you have been doing it. Make sure there is a balance. Thank you very much. Information and extension service challenge. This one is very important. It's similar to just what I've said. When many a time there will be new trend of doing farming activities, but because you don't know, you just be laboring yourself, you'll be doing it the old way. So this is a big challenge on the part of the farmer when people don't know the way to do it better. So it's a challenge and something must be done. Extinction of indigenous seed and plants. You know, when I was young, there are seeds, there are plants that when normally most of the plants that we know are out of the season, we fall back on this and eat them. They are highly medicinal and they are readily available. But today, many of them has gone into extinction. Many are still remaining, but people don't value them again. So we need to wake up. We need to search for these our indigenous seeds and make sure that they don't go into extinction if indeed we want to be food secure. Let us move on. The complexity and approach to food security. The dimension of a problem determines the approach to the solution. That is a fact. A simple problem requires a simple approach, but a complex problem requires a complex and multidimensional approach to solve the problem. To be realistic and frank, the problem of food insecurity can never be viewed with narrow eyes. If indeed we actually need solutions to the world hunger and food insecurity. This is a reality. The issue of food insecurity is a complex game. There are so many forces waging war against different set of people. So it's a complex equation. It's a complex issue. And we have to address it with a complex approach. It's not just a simple analysis and it has to be approached with a complex approach. Food security equation. The challenge of food security requires a complex approach, just like we said. Analyzing the solution to a problem starts with simple approach to complex ones. When there's a problem on ground, you don't just run towards it and solve. You have to take it from the simple ones, analyze it, solve it, then you go to the next one, analyze it, solve it, until you get to the complex ones, analyze and solve. Let us start with the solution with this simple equation. In mathematics, in linear equation and algebra and things like that, we say f of x is equal to y is equal to mx plus c is equal to 0. We are not yet to solve mathematics, but I'm heading towards somewhere. We are heading towards a solution. When we talk about f of x, it means this problem, there's a problem. But this problem is the solution to this problem is a function of something. That means f of x is telling us that this problem, for us to have a solution, is a function of something. So this our food security problem is a function of something if we have to solve it. So there are some things that must put in place. So let's analyze this equation. From the equation above, y and the f of x, they are the same thing, is the result or the output. Yes. M is the gradient, a determinant of the performance or the yield of the equation. When M is high, it means little effort will give higher results and vice versa. So the M in this equation is the gradient. You know, in mathematics, when we talk about gradients, say y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1 is equal to this. We are not going into that. But the actual meaning of gradient is what? A determinant of the performance of the equation. Is the one that actually determines if what you put in will give you results And how many results will such give you? That is gradient for you. And when the gradient is high, when you apply little effort, you will have higher result. But when the gradient is low, when you apply effort, you will have little result. So we need to tweak our brain. We need to tweak things and make sure that not just solving problems, not just going to farm, but we have to consider our gradients. What are the gradients? We will see them very soon. X is the variable or the output, or the input rather. X is the variable or the input. That means these are the things that you put in. You put in for you to have results. Then C is the constant. What's the meaning of constant? Constant means it's always there. It doesn't change. Let's go on. Now, equation constant. Equation constant. The equation constant in this scenario refers to factors that an individual smallholder farmers has limited control over. Yes, it's a constant because you don't have control over it. And we are not talking about big farmers, but smallholder farmers. And now, what are these constants? Farm security from theft and herders invasion. Just tell me, how will a farmer with 2 hectares or 1 plot of land be able to say he wants to fight herders that are invading his farm with gun? How? So these are constants that need to be addressed. These are constants that something has to be done about it. Climate change. Climate change. How does a smallholder farmer work climate smart? All these issues, they are there. They are available. They are standing right there with the farmer. But nobody is actually looking into the solution to these problems. We must look into them. Social amenities such as road and electricity. It's a constant. When there is no road to your farm, no matter what you produce, there will be a problem to get them out to the marketplace. Seed quality challenge, and so on and so forth. There are many of them. They are constant. So they have to be addressed. Equation variables. The variables in this instance include but not limited to the following. Scale of farming operation. No, you say you want to feed a city. You want to feed a city and you are working on a plot of land. How is that reasonable? That is not achievable. That is not reasonable. Even if you are doing vertical farming, you still have to enlarge your coast. So our scale of operation must be what? Must be looked into. If we want to feed the world, then we must expand our coast. We must increase our production. Access to information and extension services. There are ways of doing things, and today, methodologies and ways are improving every day. So when you don't have access to information, you'll be deformed, and that is a reality. So we need access to information, and our extension officers must wake up to their responsibility and make sure that they service farmers. Farmers are there to feed the nation. Extension workers are there to enlighten them, to encourage them, to tell them the better ways of doing it. So those are variables. Then farming methodology, the way you do things in your farm. Some people will say they are doing farming. You say this is the way you do it, whether it works or not. I know it will work. I know it will work. Is that the standard way of doing it? So farming methodology. Then marketing challenge and strategy is a variable. When there is a problem somewhere and you know how to strategize, you'll be better off somebody that doesn't strategize on marketing. So it's a variable. Now, equation gradient. Please, this place is very important. Equation what? Gradient. The gradient in this case refers to factors that can either improve and skyrocket production results, or on the other hand, bring about poor yield. Examples of gradients are soil fertility. I'm going to emphasize on this soil fertility. If you go to a natural environment, a forest, for example, a place that has been abandoned for years, you will see that there are a lot of decayed matter. The land will be rich. The land will be excellent. When you put a seed, what you will get will give you, you will marvel at what you will get. Despite the fact that it's a seed that you put there, it will give you bountiful harvest. That is a gradient. Gradient determines your yield. Do you get it now? So when a soil is fertile, it will give you better results. Soil moisture content. You don't expect a good result when there is drought. You plant maize and for a month there is no water and you expect good results. No. These are gradients. So when the water is wet, when there is moisture in the land, there will be results. Soil and atmospheric temperature. Temperature determines a lot of things about plant and animals. So the temperature is another gradient. Pest infestation and control, that is crop protection techniques. When you have a good farmland, you have done it, you have done tractorization, harrowing, irrigating, you have invested deep into it, but pests just invade into your farm. What happens? So that is a gradient as well. It determines whether you will get results or not. Agricultural practices that can either increase or reduce yield gap. What is yield gap? Under normal condition, if you do it this way, you will get this way. So there are some agricultural practices that you are into. You have to check them. Are they going to give you better results? Or are they going to give you results that are tending towards the ground or tending towards the up? So think about that. Then post-harvest handling. After you have invested a lot and you now pack your tomato in a bus, and by the time it gets to the market, the way the drivers and handlers, the way they handle it, almost all the tomatoes are spoiled, are pressed. Is that the fault of the farmer? No. Is that the fault of the farm methodology? No. But as well, it's a gradient. So we need to consider all these things. Let's move on. Now, pillars of food security. You know, when we talk about food security, there are some pillars. There are some things that we determine. Maybe a nation, a city, a community is food secured or not. These are the indicators that you will check to know maybe there is food security or not. So let us analyze them. We will not dwell much on this. It's known to everyone, but in case you don't know, just to explain a little bit. Now, availability is a pillar. What is the meaning of availability? Availability means that food is available every time you need it. So for us to say we are food secured, it means food must be available every time we need it. When you want to eat and you see something to eat, then you are food secured. Another thing is access. Access. What is the meaning of access? Food can be available, but you don't have the financial power to buy it. Food can be available, but you don't have the muscle to eat as much as you want. The food is available in the market. It's there. It's plenty. It's numerous. But you don't have the power, the financial power to buy it. That is access. So for us to say we want to be food secure, the food must be available. The food must be cheap. That is where we say we are food secured. Then utilization. When we talk about utilization, there is now talking about the science of the food. Because sometimes you buy vegetables that are produced with certain chemicals. And by the time you eat the vegetable, the next thing you'll be stooling. You discover that you go to the toilet like 3 times in the night because you have eaten a certain vegetable. Because there are toxins. There are strange chemicals. There are strange elements in that vegetable. But when food is available, you have the money to buy it. And by the time you eat it, it's nutritious to your body. It makes you happy. That means utilization is good. So when we talk about utilization, it's talking about how good is that food to your body, or to the body of your animals, or to the body of anything that is consuming the food. Now, stability. This is the king of them all. When we talk about stability, it means that every time of the year we are stable. What means stable? You jump from the staircase, you hit your 2 legs on the ground, you don't fall. Somebody throws you from anywhere, your 2 legs are standing on the ground, you don't fall. That means you are stable. So for us to be stable, and in terms of food security, it means every time the food is available, the food is accessible, and the food is properly utilized by the consumer, then we can say we are stable. Now, Agri-Detail's ABC Food Security Quadrant model, the model we are going to be discussing, explains how these 4 pillars and indicators can be achieved. Generally, throughout the world, everyone knows these are the pillars of food security: availability, accessibility, utilization, and stability. But how can we achieve this? Let us go. Emphasis. The emphasis of food security quadrant is going to be on the scale of farming operation on one side, with research and extension services on the other side. This is simply because, all things being equal, these variables determine how far a nation can go in making the state food secure. Any nation that actually wants to enjoy stability as a pillar of food security will definitely not joke with these factors. Let us dive into the Agri-Detail's ABC model of what? Food security quadrant. Let us go. Now you are welcome to where we are going. Food security quadrants. Agri-Detail's ABC model. So this is where we are going. We are not telling you that all the factors that are mentioned in the beginning are not important. No. All the factors must be dealt with. All the necessary things must be put in place for us to say we are food secure. But we are going to be focusing on this particular quadrant now. If the world wants to be food secure, if your village wants to be food secure, if your nation wants to be food secure, we want to dwell on this chart. And it's called Food Security Quadrant, Agri-Detail's ABC model. If you look at this quadrant, you will see at the upper side we have farmers. At the lower side, we have research/extension. On the right hand side, you have small scale. On the left hand side, we have large scale. It means anything above the cross, up, farmers, down, research and extension. That's to tell you that for us to really feed ourselves as a nation, for us to really feed ourselves as a universe, we can't do without farmers, we can't do without research, and we can't do without people that will take that research to the farmers. Those are what? Extension officers. Again, when you look at the right side of the quadrant, you will see small scale. Look at the left side, you will see large scale. That is telling us that we can't do without small scale farmers and small scale extension givers. At the same time, we can't do without large scale. So, first quadrant is telling us many small scale farmers. There must be many small scale farmers if we want to feed the world. Or we move to what? To the second quadrant. Few large scale farmers. You see that we have many, as in many small scale farmers or large scale farmers that are few. So we have small scale farmers like farmers working on one plot of land, 1 hectare of land and below. There are many, like 60% of the population. Definitely they will feed the country. Or we have few farmers that are running like 100 hectares, 200 hectares, 1,000 hectares, 6,000 hectares of land. Few of them. And the government is serious with them. They are serious with themselves. They will feed the nation. Those are what? The farming side. Now we are going to the third quadrant. Few government research institutions and extension outlets. Enough is enough of proliferation of research outlets, of research institutes. They are not doing anything. Normally, research institutes are working, but let us have few of them that are standing, that anytime you go there with a problem, you have solution to your problem. Anytime you call, you can have feedback that if you do it like this, if you do it like this, you will have results. That is what? The third quadrant. And now the fourth quadrant, the last but not the least. Many small research and extension service givers. These ones, they are many and they are small, but they are experts in the field. They must be available. They must not be killed. They must not be sidelined. They must not be silenced. We should have extension officers. We should have researchers, if possible, in every village, so that you don't have to run and move far before you can have solutions to problems. So let's go on. Food security quadrant explained. The first quadrant is talking about many small-scale farmers, meaning that there have to be many. If you are dwelling on small-scale farmers, there must be many, and we must be sincere with them, and they must be sincere with the nation. Second quadrant, few large-scale farmers. Simple. Third quadrant, few government research institutions and extension outlets. Simple. Fourth quadrant, many small and medium research extension givers. There have to be many. That is one. Then second one, there must be model or demo farms within farming communities. If we say we want to feed ourselves as a nation, if we say we want to move forward as a universe, as a globe, every farming community that we know must have model farms, must have demo farms that other farmers can go there and learn, that other farmers can replicate what is happening there in their farm. It must be nearby. It must not be far away. Solutions. A serious nation should utilize at least 2 from the 4 segments of this quadrant, using minimum of 1 from each side of the quadrant. At least a serious nation must use 2. If you are using many small-scale farmers, then you must use either large-scale research institutes or many small-scale extension givers. We must use at least 2. But you can combine more than 2. You can use 2 in each side of the quadrant, and in fact, you can use everything. We're talking about food security. It's a problem. It's a universal problem, and we must be serious with this. The more production, the better for our nations. The more we can preserve our food, the better and safer for us. To reduce unemployment, there is need to encourage farmers and people in the first quadrant. It's self-explained. Talk about employment, and you are deceiving people all around. Enough is enough of deception. If you want to empower people, if you want to make them gainfully employed, empower people, small-scale farmers. Let them go into farm and work. Give them reasons why they can work. Give them reasons why they can trust you as a government. To stabilize production, there is need to encourage and promote organizations. What did I say? Organizations in the second quadrant. That second quadrant is not the work of an individual farmer. It's not the work of a small or poor farmer. It's the work of organizations, established firms. It could be agricultural firms, it could be anything, but they are established. They have structures. They can invest in agriculture. To reduce bureaucracy, to give room for ease of information accessibility and education, engage the fourth quadrant. If you know you want to pass information to your farmers in the rural areas, send small-scale research and extension givers. They will go there and discuss. Farmers will not leave their domain, their comfort zone, and say they want to come to Abuja or Accra or Sierra Leone. From their rural area, from their rural community, they are coming to the capital to seek information. They don't have the time. But as a government, you have to do what? You have to invest in them. You have to invest in them. Any nation that look away from security of farmers and farmlands can only be better described as praying for doom. Why? A nation that cannot feed itself should not exist. Why should nations keep depending on other nations to feed them? Why? 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 And I ask why? Why should you have land and you depend on some other nations to feed you? So, any nation that look away from security of farmers and farmlands can only be better described as what? Praying for doom. You say, if you fail to plan, you are planning to fail. So, prepare, secure your farmers as a nation, because a nation that cannot feed itself is not worth existing. Now, my recommendations. Individual farmers should focus more on the first quadrant. That is a recommendation. Established organizations, religious bodies. Jesus fed disciples. He fed 5,000 men with something because he has the ability. Religious organizations, you have the capability to feed your nation. Religious bodies and all well-meaning citizens of nations should focus on the second quadrant. Do farming the large scale. Governments at all levels, be it national, state, local government, should collaborate and strategize on how to improve the third quadrant. That is big, large-scale research and extension outlets. Government should do something about it. Make sure they are doing what they are supposed to be doing. Empower them. Invest in them. Put money there and see if they will not work. Fund donors, NGOs should focus on the fourth quadrant. That means small-scale researchers, small-scale extension givers. Fund donors should focus on them. If indeed all of us in the world, we actually want the world to be food secured, fund donors should do what? Should empower them. I want to thank you for listening all along. I want to thank you for your patience. Please subscribe to this channel. Let us continue discussion at the comment section. If you have challenges, if you have issues, if you have better ways it can be put, or better ways it can be done, let us continue this discussion at the comment section. Just comment. Then make sure you like this video. Make sure you share it if it is impactful. If it makes sense, please share it. Then you can reach us through this number. It's a Nigerian number. +234 70 And if you want to reach us, send email through the email that is there, dem@akimbobade@gmail.com. See you in the next video. Agri-Details ABC, the gateway to sustainable agriculture. Thank you very much. God bless you.